48 kills, Tarek GG, it's What the Moose here, and today I've got some awesome gameplay for you guys, some amazing tips and tricks, kind of following on from my last Quinn video, but I really want to focus in on the Quinn Assassinate and specifically the auto attack reset aspect of it. I want to talk about the versatility of Quinn, whether it's in 1v2 lanes, split pushing or joining team fights. I want to talk about how to team fight on Quinn and also how to play when you're behind, because that's something a lot of people bring up when I play Quinn. What do you do when you lose lane hard? So we'll get into that later in the video. So we see here, solo queue game, around 70 league points, diamond 1, getting 1v2'd by the AD carry support combo, try and flash for the double proc on my passive there, doesn't quite work, Ezreal heal, flash and E is enough to escape, but the auto attack reset after my ulti is enough. For some reason I walk through the fresh wall there and I eat a little too early, it doesn't allow me to get the double proc on my passive and unfortunately Vi's there to clean up. But there is 1v2 potential in ganks and there is 1v2 potential when you're getting 1v2'd in lane as Quinn. Now we're just going to watch this clip here as I pretty much go in 1 versus 5 as their team watches Lucian die and doesn't really react in time to do anything, and this is something that people don't think Quinn has the ability to do, whereas a Zed or Yasuo or something would be able to do. But this was a game where we were struggling to close out, we were a bit ahead but we were having these standoffs where he didn't really know what to do, so I suggested that I was going to engage 1 versus 5 and I expected to die here. I was expecting to eat the Malphite ulti, then hope that my team would be able to clean up. For some reason I am able to get auto attack reset after my ulti assassinate. Lucian through the heal isn't enough to save him. I'm able to pick him up, no one from their team reacts. They've got Nami ulti for disengage, they've got Riven stun, AoE knock up, they had everything to disengage but they weren't able to do it. And as we watch the clip again you can see the amount of damage through the heal, through the flash. Their team can't react in time, the Nami ult is too late, they're already dead. Really nice kick from Lee Sin. But like I said before, I fully expected to die then. I thought I'd do enough damage to force Lucian out of the fight, eat the Malphite ulti and then allow my team to clean up. But it does show the potential damage that Quinn has scaling into late game, and it shows the assassinate aspect of her in the team fights, again seeing the auto attack reset after the ulti. And this aspect of Quinn is absolutely incredible. Her mobility combined with her potential damage makes her so much more of a threat than Zed and Yasuo. Whether you're looking to close out a game, bait summoners or force people out of the fight, or whether you're looking to hold on, we see our Lee Sin got caught there, the enemy team was split pushing, which allows me to pick up the kill on Draven so we can hold on, rather than trying to wave clear and probably losing an inhib tower and an inhib from that situation. And again, it all scales from the level 1, all scales from the early game and from the roam pressure that you get. You saw in my last video, the dominate from level 1 video, if this works it will just snowball and snowball. I've came back into lane, got level 6 and poked Orianna down without even using my ulti. She does have a heal up, but as soon as she steps into lane and my E's off cooldown, I'm going to be able to assassinate her even without the auto attack reset, and it's just a massive snowball effect. I really want to focus quite a lot of this video on how to play when you're losing your lane hard and how to come back, and it doesn't just apply for Quinn, it applies to all kind of assassins and all champions you would think need to snowball really well to have a big impact on the game. It doesn't work so much in rank 5s because people can close you out really well, but in solo queue there's definitely ways of coming back. So we see here in this clip I'm 0-4-1 and I'm really struggling. I'm over 20 CS behind and it's 100% my fault in this game. I played the top gank really poorly and I suffered because of it. But one really important point to note about this is if a jungler ganks you and you waste your summoner spells and you go back to lane, it's likely that you'll get camped again. And one thing is important to get wards down, the second thing is really important to know how to die. If you're trying to farm on the tower and getting zoned, that's not how you should die. You should die kind of pushing up your wave as much as you can. If your death is inevitable, make sure you die in a position where you're actually getting XP and getting farm, rather than dying under your tower and losing 2 or 3 waves. And I'll explain more about that a bit later. But we see here a really important point to note, Aurelia's just TP top, so I pop my ulti immediately and let my team know that we should be doing Drake. I don't really have a big impact on the fight, but the pressure from me being there and the pressure from Aurelia not being there and having no TP is enough to kind of zone them out a bit. And we do pick out this dragon and it's the start of a comeback, a very slow comeback, and the start of not giving up. So important things to note is trading TPs for roams, doing your job, and doing your job might revolve around catching people. We see 2 people low HP here. I want to go on to Orianna. The Orianna has the blue buff. I'm not sure when she got it, but it's important to take it off her, and I had faith in my team being able to clean up the rest of them. That fight, Aurelia actually did follow my roam, but the main thing to note is just because you're behind doesn't really impact you doing your role kind of thing. It might impact you being able to lane against the enemy laner, but you need to take opportunities to roam, take opportunities to assassinate the people you're meant to be assassinate, pop summoners of the people you're meant to pop summoners of, and look for opportunities other than laning to get back in the game. And it might seem really obvious, but a lot of people would attempt to lane, say, you know, jungler please gank top, it's over, or Jarvan ganks me 3 times, can't do anything, etc, etc. That's not the thing you want to be looking at. Okay, top might be over, but that doesn't mean the game's over, and it doesn't stop you from doing your jobs. You need to know when you can get your power spikes, and that might be a certain level, and it might be a certain item, and you need to make really good advantage of getting those power spikes. And if you get the power spikes a bit later than normal, you might just have a lessened effect. So we see here, Orianna gets slightly out of position, and instead of me bursting her down, I pop a summoner. And that's because I got my power spike later in the game, rather than getting earlier in the game. So if I was doing well, I would have been able to assassinate her there. I'm not doing so well. I recognise my power spike, and able to blow the summoner. And we look at my items there, my next big power spike will obviously be Last Whisper, so I need to look to make advantage of that then. And so we're still behind in this game, but I'm still confident in me, you know, doing my job and doing my role. They're all low, we forced them back, and we see here, it looks like I'm going to suicide. I don't really play it too well, but I end up picking up the Jarvan, preventing him from stealing it, and blowing the Orianna ulti just on me. We see the TP coming in there, Ori blows ulti on me, they're not able to go in for the steal, or Jarvan won't have the smite for the steal, and my team will be able to pick up Nash very, very easily. And obviously this is very, you know, team reliant. You can only do what you can do. You can only do your job and hope that your team is able to react and respond in the way that they are. If the other lanes are doing well, it makes it really easy. If the other lanes aren't doing so well, you can only hope that they respond to their power spikes in the same way that you respond to yours. You avoid fights before, you look for other opportunities, maybe picks to get back into the game, and then when you have your power spike, or when you perhaps sync your power spikes, you know, you might sync your power spike with your mid lane, you both get a big item, I pick up my Last Whisper, mid lane picks up Death Cap, and then you look to, you know, force a team fight or force an objective. So, you know, recognising power spikes, doing your jobs, and trying to sync power spikes is incredibly important. And we see from being so far behind, just from doing my job and having a relatively small impact on the game, but making sure I do the right things at the right time and not giving up. Not really trying to lane against Aurelia because that was clearly over, and just looking for little mistakes like the TP top lane, like Orianna being out of position, and like Lucian walking over a blue. Just being aware of how to play the game. It's as simple as that really. And depending on the game, you know, you may be required to change your build to reach a certain power spike earlier. If you're able to farm and you're roaming, you're getting kills, you're doing your job, you may be able to keep on the same build path. But if they're grouping early, you don't really have the opportunity to farm and split push. You need to change your build, get your power spike earlier, and maybe even change your skill path just to get to where you want to be. The biggest mistake I see people make is ignoring the fact that they're behind and just playing as if they normally would, as if they're really far ahead. And you know, example list might be a Malphite who really struggling in lane, doesn't have his tanky items yet, isn't able to do his job, yet he still tries to ulti engage 1 versus 5. Obviously he won't be able to tank them for very long, he'll die, he'll probably lose the team fight, and you know, they'll say whatever, GG or play, and give up. And if you're really far behind on Malphite, you don't really want to be, you know, ulting 1 versus 5 and hoping your team can clean up kind of thing, because you won't be able to tank for long enough. If they can follow up, that's fine, but you know, you might want to save your ulti to later in the team fight, or more realistically, if you're really far behind and really unable to tank, you might want to just use your ulti to peel for someone, you know, save your ulti and peel for your AD carry if they get on him. Or even failing that, just keep your ulti for pressure. You know, the pressure of a Malphite ulti is huge, and if they haven't seen you've used your ulti, that's incredible amounts of pressure, and it proves you're thinking about the game. You're not just blindly going in for no reason, you're thinking, am I actually able to do this? No, I'm not able to do this, so what can I do instead? So yeah, the main thing to take from that is, if you lost lane, it is 100% your fault. It's not the jungler's fault for baiting you or giving your laners double buffs. It is your fault. You need to appreciate that and, you know, respect there are other avenues for getting back into the game. But obviously I don't lose my lane every game, and you know, I like to think I play pretty well in some games, maybe I play pretty well in quite a lot of games, you know, that's not for me to decide. But like we saw earlier, a couple of clips ago, I actually managed to get the 1v2 double kill on Jarvan and Aurelia. That put me in a really good position. Lee Sin's covering top side, and I really want to make sure my bot lane were ahead with this gank through lane. I just spend quite a lot of time here, but I can afford to spend quite a lot of time here. Even if Jarvan's going to counter gank, we should come out on top. And yeah, it's just a case of making sure I'm doing my job like in the other video, whereas in this respect I'm making sure I'm doing my job to help others get into the game rather than myself focusing on getting back into the game kind of thing. So we see there picking up the double kill, wasn't particularly well executed but didn't really need to be due to their positioning. Morgana was fairly far forward, they were ready to fight, they knew they were stronger and they were hoping to fight. When Tristana jumped, you know, they were hoping to get the engage. They didn't notice me, pick up the double kill and transition into Drake just to get bot lane back into the game, and the Drake helps with the XP and gold that I missed top while Lee Sin was covering. And like we saw earlier again, you can actually follow flashes with your E, and we see here again, following Nidlee's flash with my E. I'm not going to pretend it's 100% skill, it's probably 90% luck and 10% skill. Just so happens I did it twice in this video and twice in this game actually. It's just something to be aware of. If you think someone's going to go for a flash or jump a wall, you can try and time it, and it does work sometimes, and it can have like a really nice effect. So obviously they don't have the Nidalee poke here. We've got the Zig Zone, and it's just going to snowball us even further and allow me to go back top lane again. So moving on, I kind of want to discuss Quinn's role in team fights and what Quinn actually offers to a team. A lot of people think, you know, she's an AD carry, which I don't agree with. I honestly think the best way to describe Quinn is if Zed and Vayne had a baby, it would be Quinn. And I'm pretty sure that's in League of Legends lore. Quinn is actually the child of Zed and Vayne. It's just in the small print or something. But yeah, Quinn is a ranged assassin, and that can either be played as a split pusher or, like we saw earlier, creating pressure in fights, baiting people onto you, forcing people out, or even just getting the burst assassinate and then backing off. Further to this, you know, you don't even have to do anything, as we'll see again later in the video. Just popping your ulti and being, you know, circling around. You can literally run around in circles with Quinn's ulti, just creating the pressure. That way, you know, you commit one or two people to peel or be ready to peel for their AD carry, for their AP carry, and you commit a few cooldowns. You know, if they see you ulti, they want you to go in. They're not expecting you to, you know, just wait around, walk around in circles. They really want to, you know, you to commit so they can use their cooldowns and get on with the fight. And like I said, if you're waiting, you can just monitor their cooldowns. As soon as they use their defensive cooldowns, as soon as they commit to not peel for their AD carry, that's your opportunity to assassinate, and that's your kind of role in a team fight, to kind of take a back step, have a look at it all. If no one's out of position, just create the pressure and allow your team to, you know, fight against the enemy without their cooldowns. And a common thing to see with this is if you ulti, they'll just try and back off. Like you see if a Yi uses their ulti, you just, you know, back off, you know, Yi used ulti, don't fight, don't fight. But by backing off, that creates pressure, it creates map pressure. You can get vision control in their jungle, you can, you know, rotate to a tower, you can rotate to an inhibitor, you can get control around dragon, you know, it all means something, and Quinn's ulti lasts for an incredible amount of time. And another thing to note about why I love Quinn so much is that when you're split pushing, you can actually catch a lot of people out who try and move to defend the tower from the jungle and even move through lane. You have a lot of mobility, like I said before, and you can simply ulti, move away from the tower if you have vision in their jungle, pick them up, or even move behind the tower through lane, pick them up, and you know, it makes incredible amounts of difference in the game. And moving on from this, another really important factor when playing Quinn and going for early kills on the tower, you need to use your ignite as you E. As we saw there, mid-air of my E, I actually ignited Aurelia, and it forces her to flash, or it doesn't really force her to flash, but she reacts by flashing because she doesn't expect to die. And there's nothing worse than trying to go for an early kill on the tower, using your E, going for your full combo, and then being 1 or 2 auto attacks away, and then have a flash after and not be able to pick up the kill. By going in for your E and igniting early, either force her to flash or you are able to pick up the free kill. The next thing I want to discuss is why I don't buy Ghostblade and why I rarely buy Infinity Edge. First of all, Ghostblade has been buffed this patch and I still really wouldn't recommend getting it. The movement speed isn't really necessary, you can catch onto people incredibly well regardless, and the move speed from Zephyr, static Shiv and upgraded boots, as well as your passive, is more than enough. The attack speed is completely overkill with your final build, and likely if you're picking Quinn mid, you're going to have a double AD comp, so you want to get as much armor pen as possible, which means getting Black Cleaver, getting Last Whisper, and getting up to that 60% pen as soon as possible. Yeah, which is incredibly important, like I said, in double AD comps. The reason I don't get Infinity Edge is because I just think it's completely overkill. I prefer to play this on hit effect penetration build, like similar to what you build on Zed. Infinity Edge isn't the worst item you can buy, but it's too much damage. You know, you don't need the damage. Even in a 6 item build, you really don't need the damage. Something I have started doing recently though is getting Shiv and Triforce, especially if I'm forced to get Merc Treads rather than Berserker Greaves. I'll get the Triforce when I normally get Zephyr, and even in some games I'll get Zephyr, I'll have static Shiv, then I'll sell boots to Triforce just to get the burst, just to get the mobility, and it helps with sustain damage. Like, an Infinity Edge could work in that respect as well, but I honestly do like the Triforce Shiv combo. So to briefly finish, I just want to recap some of the Quinn assassinates and different combos you can use. Pre-6, you've obviously got double proc of your passive into Q and ignite. Post-6, you have your ulti, E, Q, blade if you have it, ulti again, then get the auto attack reset. And again, post-6, you have the double proc of the passive into ulti. Obviously your E will be on cooldown, so you just use ulti as a ranged assassinate into the auto attack reset again. Following on from this, you have the ulti vault reset assassinate, where you pop your ulti, you use your E, and then mid-flight of E you pop your ulti again to get the damage proc from your ultimate, but also to vault back to safety if your vault will take you into a dangerous position. So some closing notes for this video. Quinn is an incredibly versatile champ. She's not a troll champ. If you see her in ranked games, it's not a troll, and quite a lot of the time when I play ranked games in Diamond 1, the enemy team doesn't ban Quinn, but my own team does ban Quinn. Sometimes late at night when you play against the same teams, you do see the Quinn ban from the enemy team, but when your own team bans Quinn from you, that's obviously indicating that they think Quinn is a troll, which is, you know, 100% not true. Like we've seen in this vid, there's so much you can do with pressure created from your ult, just from being on the sidelines, with split pushing and catching people rotating to you from the split push, with burst assassinating in team fights. There's so much Quinn can do and so much you can offer to your team. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've got so many more ideas for videos. I've got a list of 10 video ideas in front of me, and I've got clips to a few of them as well, so hopefully you guys will enjoy those. And not all Quinn videos, you'll be pleased to know. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, favourite it, tell your friends, and leave a comment, let me know what you think, because your comments really direct where I go with my other videos, so I do try and read all the comments if I can. Please subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.